What's up, y'all? I'm back here in the office, and we're gonna be talking about you wanting to move in with your girlfriend. Girlfriend? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Moving in with your girlfriend slash wife, friend, roommate, girl, anything, whatever it is, all the above. But I want to help people navigate what you might expect, what you probably should do. And I don't have any notes or anything prepared, so I'm just gonna kind of speak to you guys out of the blue. And first things first, I know, moving in with, let's just say your girlfriend, okay? Because back then, when we moved in together, we were not fiancés or married yet. So let's get that out of the way. And so, what's it called? Back in 2022, my girlfriend, who she was at the time, she's still my girl, at this time. We're married now. We've been together now, actually, at this point in time that I'm posting it, we've been together for 9 years and a couple months, but we did get married on June. But yeah, so when you first move in with each other, for me, I wasn't nervous and I was not hesitant at all. So we had to move out from El Paso, Texas to College Station, Texas. I'm currently talking to you guys from California. But that was the first time that we moved in together, believe it or not. And that was, moving out of our hometown, thank God. And first moving in to our apartment. And I need to tell everybody that, even for the girls or anybody watching this, that's fine. But I want to share it to you from, a guy's perspective. Yeah, I wasn't hesitant at all. And it was actually very enjoyable and easy to live with each other at the time, for sure. I know there's some girls that aren't all that cleanly, but, she was somebody who likes everything organized and clean all the time, especially because, where she grew up from and how her mom is. I did have to adapt a lot more to, making sure the house is clean. And that is where, as guys, we need to make sure that you're putting in the effort to make sure that you're keeping her happy, in the sense of showing that you care to, keep your home clean. And because I would say that's probably a low-key turn on for some girls. Yes or no? Lucky for her, though, I do wash dishes. That's originated since I started working on my first job at a movie theater back in 2015 or 16. And so ever since then, that's my duty. So luckily for her, she doesn't actually like to wash dishes, so it kind of makes it just works, And her duty is mostly like getting the laundry done, but of course I'll help her whenever I can. But yeah, so first things first, I was not hesitant at all. If you are, I just want to say, there's some times where you just kind of have to go for it. And I know some guys might have some trust issues, whether it's knowing if this is even going to work or not. And just whatever the trust issues may be, you just have to go for it, because in life, there's so many things that you're not really going to know unless you experience it yourself. You can't just keep wondering or keep doubting if something is going to work out if you don't try and make that effort. So, yeah, don't be scared or hesitant. But like I said, for me, I wasn't hesitant because I wanted to get out of my hometown. El Paso, Texas is boring, so I was excited to be able to have a great excuse to move out. That way she can go to school and get her master's. We're moving out so that she could get her master's. So there's that. And then I know a lot of the times during, the beginning months, you guys are just excited because you guys get to finally have your own space and then finally live with each other. Luckily we did live pretty close to each other. It was like 2-3 minutes from each other's houses, so thank God for that. But at the same time, you're just so tired of having to drive over to her house even though it's so close, but like you don't want that anymore. There's a point in time where if you've been together for so long too, that you just want to be able to live with each other, to have that convenience of waking up and, you know, just doing whatever. And then, so back what, in 2022, right now we're in 25, 9, 8, 7, 6. So we were together around 5 to 6 years before we moved out. And that's only because, like I said, she was going to school and we had stayed in our hometown that she could get her bachelor's. And so there was no reason to really move in with each other at the time, although we did have that in mind. But yeah, as for the guys, you just need to make sure to really stay on top of getting a job before moving out wherever you are. So for example, you know, we're out here in California, as I've mentioned before, if you don't know, still currently jobless. I have 2 interviews now. I have a second interview for another job lined up. So thank God for that. But make sure to apply to jobs in advance, because for California, I'll say that it's extremely tough. But since we were in Texas and we're just moving somewhere else in Texas, I don't know, for whatever reason, it wasn't as bad. But College Station, if you're not familiar, it's where Texas A&M is at. Small little town. But if you can, the easiest thing that you can do is transfer somewhere else. That is probably the easiest thing that you can do, is transferring somewhere else or working at a job where it was like your last experience or your most recent experience. So that's possibly the easiest way it's going to do, or that it's going to work out for you. And making sure that once you've applied, you know, kind of give them time to either look over it or let the application process and get to them. And then make sure to call as well. So, you know, show interest that you want to work there, even though you may not stay there forever, but you just never know. You just have to be prepared for any situation, and you would need to be prepared to work at a job for a very long time just to have something and bringing in money. Because for her, she wasn't able to work. And there's a car coming up. It's gonna be a little weird. Oh, never mind, it's just some older guy. Is that Erlin? If you guys don't know Erlin on the daily. Anyway, I'm not gonna say much about him. But yeah, I know, like I said, like even right now for me, obviously my 2 careers is either to become a firefighter or do something involving cars, which is, I guess, car salesman, but at the same time I would be creating content for the brand that I'm working with. So it's exciting for me to be around cars. But yeah, so don't be nervous. You know, you just have to go all out and have faith. And then you have to secure a job. So that's 2. And then 3, what else? What else? You just need to make sure that, yeah, just staying on top of getting the house cleaned. And don't be a snob too. There's just so much that us guys, we need to work on. And whatever it is that your girl is telling you that you need to fix, try not to complain about it so much. I know it can probably be annoying or it can bother you, but just let that process and really take what she is telling you, because it's going to be very important in order to keep your relationship alive. If you guys don't know, a relationship does require work and effort. It really does. It's not just like, oh, like you're hot or any of that. Like, it really does require work after, you know, you've kind of gotten over the honeymoon phase, but you really have to nurture the relationship and, you know, let her know that you love her as many times as they'll ask you, like, do you still love me? Like, you have to give them that physical, that love. Like I said, even if you're not the physical type, but however your partner is, I hope you would know how they are by then, and making sure that you can, like I said, just make sure that they know you love them. Sorry, just checking messages from my wife because I am gonna have to pick her up. Okay, and then Let's see what else. I'm gonna have to pause it a little bit, that way I can kind of get my brain together and thoughts and see what else I'm missing to talk to you all about. So real quickly, we're gonna answer 5 questions that I asked ChatGPT to help me on, and that's to, get as many answers out there as much as possible. So first one, let's go over what changes the most when you move in with your girlfriend for the first time. And number 1, let's say your routine. I think one of the main things is like your routine, when it's working out. So if you're already working at home, you don't have to worry about downstairs neighbors. I think that's probably one of the more difficult parts, because for me personally, I don't like the gym. And if you're the second, if you're not on the first floor, it might be hard to kind of keep your workout routine at home. So you do have to learn to adapt where you're at and just try to maintain that routine. For me right now out here in California, I'm making sure that around sunset time, because I do love the sunset, that I'm going out for my run/walk. Either that, or I have the VR boxing at home, or I'm doing something. Luckily, we don't have downstairs neighbors at the apartment we're living. But yeah, so your routine, that may change. And then my routine is normally waking up early and getting everything done as soon as possible. For her, she wakes up late, she sleeps in. So that is another thing that, you may come across, is each other's routines. Like, it's going to be disrupted in some way, whether good or bad. And then habits. So I think one of my worst habits, and I feel like every other guy has this terrible habit in a way, is just playing video games all the time. So I think in this day and age, video games is probably not the worst thing to do right now, unless you're live streaming or something. At least try to make something of the hobby that you're doing. So if not, you really gotta try to limit how much you're playing video games, because your girl's gonna end up thinking you're ignoring her, you don't care about her. And not that it happened to me, but I did notice, like, I play a lot of video games, and my lady, my wife, she was a little busy with studying, but that shouldn't mean, oh yeah, I can just play video games like all the time. That's all I was doing. I would go home, I would go to work and then come home, play video games. But now I've stopped, and it's been about a year or two that I haven't really been, no, I'd say about a year. We do play video games together though, so like Nintendo Switch, and to play video games together is like one of the best things. But one thing, if you can, and that may happen, is you have to be able to adapt to each other's hobbies. So although yes, I am the one that plays video games most, she also likes to play some video games, but not as much as us guys. I know there's girls out there that play video games, but yeah, to play video games together and learn how to try to like somebody else's hobby is a must. That, like I said, that's part of the effort and work you have to put in. And as well as when it comes to TV shows, you're gonna have to sit and watch whatever the other person's watching, and try to at least make that effort too to get into the show, because there's some shows that she would be watching, and then vice versa, like we catch each other like watching and liking the show. So like The Summer I Turned Pretty, all these girly shows like none of us want to watch, right? But then you watch like one, and then you start getting into it, and then Formula One, huge. She was never into it. I didn't really know too much about the sport. And then, I started watching Drive to Survive, and then eventually, thank God, I got her into it. So now she seems like more of a fan of watching Formula One more than I am. So I'm pretty proud of that. Okay, so there's that. And then question number 2 on here is, how do you split the bills and household expenses fairly? So I know there's times where, if your girlfriend is going to be a student, they may get loans or money. And so you have to this is where they tell you have to communicate, but seriously, just plan out whatever it is that you can pay On the guys, try to pay for like most of it if possible, because you know, any school that she will need for money and books and stuff, you guys over time will kind of get to know what you can spend on. But yeah, also just making sure you're budgeting. Thank God in Texas I would say it's pretty cheap compared to over here. But yeah, that's one thing, that just try not to argue or anything. We never argued, which is probably the best thing, but at the same time not, because anytime we had disagreements, we just didn't talk to each other. We stayed quiet. So that kind of saved some of the part in the relationship, because you know, when words come out and that you don't mean to say, it could kind of ruin the relationship. But anyway, so yeah, on splitting household bills, just work it out together. Really, like, you're not only are you guys like a couple, but you have to think of yourself as, you know, you guys are a team. So kind of like being at work, you just figure out, okay, like, well, what can we do? What do we need to work on? Like, what is it that needs to get paid? So everything just, I don't know, but Karina, my wife, she's been amazing, you know, everything, handling the bills and all, like, she was great at doing and seeing what it is we need to do. Like, all I would do is just like, here's the money. Like, she was able to take care of all that. So thank God for her on that. And let's see if we can get to another question, because I do need to head out at some point and pick her up. If you guys are still watching, thanks a lot, because like I said, I'm just trying to do anything that I can to help people. I don't want to leave this world knowing that I didn't help anybody in some way. And through YouTube, this is probably going to be a huge way to do it. And then, how do you keep your own space and hobbies while living together? So naturally, her and I, you know, we had some bookshelves in place, and everything is just gonna mix together. Luckily, thank God for my wife. She is open to having my decorations or some collectibles around, and I'm not the type of guy who wants to have like everything like that I want on the wall or anything. So you're just gonna have to learn and adapt to whoever your partner is, because everybody's different. But yeah, for our stuff, like, we just had it mixed together on a bookshelf, and everything works out anyway, because her and I, we love to collect, we love to go antiquing and all that, so it just works out. Besides that, she does, you know, want to make sure that the apartment looks decent and not like a man's cave, because we were in a small apartment, and you know, it's not a man cave, so you do have to try to learn and adapt to your new living situation. But yeah, so the apartment that we lived in, a 2-bedroom, is a good enough space. And I will tell you guys, very important, enjoy the apartment life, because when you move into a house, expenses go higher, but that's for another talk. And then let's see, so another question here is, what do you do when you disagree on chores or cleaning standards? Yeah, so like I said, my duties is washing dishes, hers is mostly doing laundry. And then besides those two, you do have to kind of share everything, because there's going to be days where she's going to be up high in energy and you're not, or vice versa. But whatever it is, you really do just have to try to make the effort to clean, because that might be the one thing she's just always going to hate you. Not hate you, but, you know, just she won't like about you, which is not keeping the house clean. So like I said, just make that effort. There wasn't too much that we disagreed on, so everything worked out. Mostly it's just the whole cleaning and making sure that pets are fed. We got 3 dogs, 2 cats at the moment. And then last but not least, how do you keep the romance alive after moving in together? Number one huge question. I think that's very important. So one thing is, for us personally, her and I love to go explore. Like I mentioned, right now we love to go collect, antiquing, but make sure to just literally go explore and get lost. I don't know how it was easier back then to just go mess around and just go to, like, her and I, we like to go to random stores and literally just look. Even if you go to Walmart, just looking at everything is kind of a date, something that we like to do. And so that is, yeah, going on dates is extremely important, because otherwise, if you go to work, she goes to school, you guys come home and just stay there every single day, that's gonna almost ruin the relationship in a way to where it feels like a jail. It's like, what? Like, all we do is just come home and do nothing. But even at home, you guys can do puzzles. Like I said, we play video games. You guys can cook together. We enjoyed cooking so much together that kept everything really exciting in the beginning. But yeah, for sure, trying to go out on dates. I know there's times where you can't spend money, so we know that for a fact on that part. But yeah, just try to go to stores. Even taking her to Target. I don't want to say I love Target. I enjoy going, and then, you know, especially with her, it just makes everything like complete. So I don't mind going to Target, and she's lucky. She has like a little girl best friend in me, so that makes everything and shopping easier. So like I said, for guys it might be extremely difficult, and I think, I don't know, you're just gonna have to learn. That's why I'm sharing this knowledge, that, you know, how I am. Like, I like to go shop, and girls love to go shop. So imagine if you just stay at home all because you're gonna have her go shop alone. Like, that's kind of messed up. And you guys might think like I'm an a-hole about maybe, I don't know, sharing stuff about staying at home. I'm not the one that's gonna be complaining, and I'm not the guy to even worry about, like, you're gonna endanger your own relationship by not even being with her. And then people will ask, well, where is he? You know, and then you're not even there for her. Even if it's late nights, like going out to clubs. She loves partying because her parents are strict, so it's very huge. But anyway, that's enough talking on this topic today for now. If you guys have questions, comment down below, and I can answer them either through comments or on the short. But I need to head out to go pick her up now, so I appreciate you guys watching this, and hopefully this information that I shared today was of help, or it kind of gave you a little bit of insight. But yeah, trust me, it's pretty fun and adventurous, and there might be issues along the way, but you're just, as a guy, if you have something to say, just don't say anything at all yet. Just kind of stay calm, let your thoughts process, because in the moment you guys are gonna say or do something that you guys are gonna regret. And yeah, you just gotta have to learn to really keep your actions in check. And if you're wondering, no, I never hit her, none of that. I'm just saying because I know other guys can be a lot worse, or just worse in general. But yeah, don't ever hit your lady, and take care of her, because that is somebody's daughter. And that is another thing too, is making sure that you're responsible. I am the driver in the relationship. She's a whole passenger queen at this point, and she's lucky though, because I do love to drive. But yeah, just make sure to take care of her and make sure she stays alive, and just keep her happy. Because like I said, me, after 9 years, I mean, I can share a little bit of information. So yeah, if you guys need help, I will do whatever I can for y'all. This is for the boys and also for the girls, because I will make sure that these guys can look after you. So whatever part that I'm good at. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys. Stay driven, and see you around.